and then I would be able to get my own truck and start making 39 cents a mile as they agreed to pay me. So they sent me out with a trainer. He'd been driving for 2 or 3 years. And he said, you know, you can teach me some things, you know. I don't know why they have you out here. I said, I know why. I'm going to go ahead and go through it. They're trying to get rid of me, but I'm not going to let them. So I go through the training. Instead of 7 days, I was out 10 days because we went on they're supposed to put me with a local trainer because that's what I've supposed to been doing is the Walmart run, which is local. But they sent me to long distance. So we went to Washington, Colorado, back to Colorado, to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and then back here, and it took 10 days. During that period of time, we committed all kind of DOT violations. And I wasn't complaining about that so much. But when we got back, before I got back, he told me they're going to put you through, you're going to have a 1-day test. We're going to set you up for a test. And the test date is Tuesday, the following week. We got in on Thursday. And now I'm on a second week of $300 a week pay. So when I got in Tuesday, they told me I had to go back to three-day orientation again and take the written test. And that test was a lot more complicated than the 3-day orientation as an experienced driver, because they send me through a test. It's like I never drove a truck before. And that's when Jack tried to flunk me on that test, the second test. And I got through that, and they took me out on the driver's test, passed it, and then they put me with a trainer on the Walmart run for I think 2 days or so, and then they gave me my own truck. But every phase of the way they were trying to find a way for me to flunk out. So finally, when I got on the Walmart run, the dispatcher, his name was probably my dispatcher there, I forget his name now. I'm on a lot of medication as we speak. He told me what a good job I was doing, so, and he never seen anybody learn the system as fast as I have. You would think I would know the system after working for him a year and all the training they put me through. And I was doing everything like they're supposed to. Then they started giving you runs where you couldn't make no money, and they supposed to be paying standby pay. And they were paying some of the drivers standby pay. They wouldn't pay me standby pay. Then it said the only way you're gonna make any money on this run is to stay in the yard and wait on a load. The guys who stay in the yard and wait on the load is the guys who making $800,000-900,000 a week, you know. I said I wasn't hired to stay in the yard. You know, you hired me. I supposed to be home every night. That's the reason I took the local run. And I don't want this local run. I want to go on the road where I can make some money. And they said you can't change from this Walmart run to a line driver unless there's an okay from some other department or something of that nature.
So local run means
You're supposed to do your run your 14 hours up to 14 hours, and then you go home.
And that's what
take 10 hours.
Indicated they hired you for.
Right. And then they wanted you. Now they want you to come in and get your truck ready, fuel your truck, get your dispatch before you clock in for your 14 hours. Otherwise, if you clean your truck and fuel up and everything, it takes an hour and a half, 2 hours to do all that. And that's what everybody was doing, and that's how they were making money. And they was, instead of going home, they would sleep in the truck. And stand by, and the next load come up, they give it to them. If I'm home, it's gonna take me 2 hours to get to the yard, so they don't give me the load in line with the other drivers. They're gonna give it to the guy who stay there in the yard. So I'm making $400 or $500 a week, and I suppose been guaranteed, not guaranteed, but when they hired me, they said you would be making $800 to $900, somewhere around $800 to $1,000 a week, based on my pay grade. That they would almost guarantee you 2,000 to 2,500 miles a week, and at 39 cents a mile, that would give me a minimum of $800 to $1,000 a week. So sometimes my paycheck is $400, and a lot of other guys the same way. But the guys who would stay there in the yard were making $1,000, $800, $1,000 a week, you know. And so that's when I filed a DOT complaint, because one, they wouldn't pay me for cleaning the trucks, and they make me clean the truck. They give me $40. It'd take me, I had to take $35, $40 worth of cleaning material with me to clean the truck, because they didn't have cleaning material there. And take me, the first truck, it took me 4 hours to clean it up, and I don't get paid for that time. Now I got to go out and work 14 hours after spending 4 hours there to clean the truck, and they're gonna give me $40 for 4 hours work, and it doesn't include all the cleaning stuff that I've used, that I had to buy on my own. So after filing the complaint, I took a copy of the complaint and made about 10 or 15 copies.
Around what year did you file a complaint?
I filed a complaint on January the 12th, January the 11th or 12th. And
What year?
this year.
This year.
And I took the copy of the complaint over to about 10 copies with me, and I passed one out to one of the drivers, and when on the 11th or 12th, when I talked to the DOT officer in Sacramento, he told me, he said, Mr. Ellis, he said, my twin brother is a truck driver, and said, what you're trying to do is what I would like to see done. And he said, even though I'm a DOT officer, we're so undermanned that you're gonna have to do, if you want this thing to work, you're gonna have to do the major part of the investigation yourself. And if you do a thorough investigation and send it to us, then we're gonna have to investigate it.
You recall the name of this person that you spoke with?
No, I don't know his name. But he said, you're gonna have to get in touch with Manuel Damus. He's my supervisor, to file the complaint.
So Manuel Davis is your supervisor at?
Is his supervisor at the DOT in Sacramento. He said,
So Manuel Davis isn't your supervisor?
No, he's the supervisor for the DOT, for the federal government that handles DOT complaints in Sacramento. And he said, but I'm telling you, if you let them know that you're gonna file a complaint, then they're gonna fire you, and it's not a whole lot we can do about it. So kind of keep it under the table. And when he told me that, I know I wasn't going to keep it under the table. So I wrote out this complaint right here. I put it on had my wife post it on the website, and I made copies of it, and I made copies of the letter where they fired me in 1998, and I passed them out to one of the drivers at about 10 o'clock in the morning, and I went in there to get my truck, to get assigned to a load, and they told me that they couldn't dispatch me because my logbooks I had some missing logbooks, they said.
And who is they again that told you this, that you have missing logbooks?
This is the dispatcher. You remember his name?
Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff Ames said that I had missing logbooks. So he said, why don't you go ahead, home and catch your logbook up, and then we'll be able to dispatch you. So I went out to the car. I had all my logbooks in the car, and he had already told me, he said, man, we got some, he had told me the day before, he said, I got so many guys, logs all messed up, I think he said he had 12 guys on his fleet. He's got 30-some guys in his fleet. And he was telling me, you know, what good job I was doing and how my logs were all okay. And that was 2 days before, that was about the 10th or 11th of January. And
January of what year?
'09.
'09, thank you.
So he was acting a little nervous when he told me that I had missing logbooks. And I said, and I knew they were trying, because we had a meeting on December the 28th with Jeff and Luke. Luke was Simon Dinger. And in that meeting, I had told them that I was going to file a complaint with the Wage and Labor Board because they weren't paying standby pay, and they were violating the DOT regulations by making the guys fuel the truck after the 14 hours, and they were making them clean the trucks and do all the pre-tripping before they signed in on the log. I was doing it and everybody was doing it. And that's the only way that you're going to be able to make the trips. And he said they weren't doing anything against DOT regulations, but they were going to make some adjustments for me by putting me on some longer runs where I'll be able to make between $800 and $900 a week.
Okay, now who told you they were going to put you on longer runs?
Luke.
Luke.
Yeah, he's the manager.
And
yeah.
around what time was this that they?
This was, I think, December the 28th
of
08. And
December the 28th of 08?
Correct. And for the 2 weeks between December 08 up until the 10th or 11th of January
09,
I was starting to make good money, you know. They would put me on longer runs, and I was able to still have to do some violations of the DOT regulations, but I was happy with what I was making. The dispute came up when, and they said they were going to put me on a 6-day rotation rather than a 5-day rotation, and on the 6-day rotation I keep the same truck all the time, and that's what was a big dispute that I had on the 5-day rotation. After I got through on the 5th day, then I had to turn that truck in, and then they would assign me a different truck. And every time they assigned me a different truck, it'd be dirty, filthy, and I wouldn't drive it until I cleaned it up. Then they didn't want to pay me for cleaning it up. So, and on the 28th, also, I said, you know, while I'm filing a complaint, I want you guys to realize that in '98, my seniority should go back.
We have to stop at a foot shift. Do you mind if I use the restroom one more time?
Yeah, go.
Drink a lot of water. Take a little break. Stand up for a second here.
Turn that on.
Excuse me.
Just want to go ahead and reload, download it. But yeah.